This is one of the very few cuts that we've ever done in a podcast.
You're about to have about 8 more, so just be ready.
All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Alliance Group podcast, and we have a special guest all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, Travis Thompson with Diamond Life. Travis, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Awesome to be here. 23 years, and this is my first experience seeing what you guys do here every day.
Yeah, man. 23 years with Alliance Group, which is pretty amazing. You're obviously top of our production charts every single year. A big reason for that is you help a lot of people with a lot of big problems in what you do with your business. And we're going to get into that in just a second and let our viewers know kind of what you specialize in. Let's actually start back at the beginning. Something that was very interesting to me when I first met you many, many years ago was your background as a professional athlete, right? So you were a baseball player, right?
I was. I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina, went to East Carolina University and played baseball there. Mm-hmm. And after my senior year, was signed by the Cincinnati Reds.
Very cool.
And spent 8 years with Cincinnati, Cleveland, Toronto, Philly, Texas as a right-handed pitcher.
Oh, that's so awesome.
My career was AA, AAA in the minor leagues. I got traded a couple times. Spent, many, many years on buses all over the country,
right.
In every small town you can possibly think of.
That minor league career isn't quite as glamorous as the Jets of the major league career, right?
Correct.
But you had an amazing career. It's so cool. I mean, to me, I'm a huge baseball fan. Just the idea that you got to be a professional athlete and get paid to play baseball on any level is just, I'm sure it was an unbelievable experience for you.
It was awesome. The lessons you learn, the everything that goes with team sports, from adversity to just competition and controlling what you can control and all the things that are involved in team sports. And I look back on my life now as I'm a dad of 3 boys, yeah. And I've got all 3 boys are playing baseball, and I coach them.
Yeah.
And so I try to give back what all the lessons that I learned. And it's just it's such a great game. It's America's pastime, and super blessed and super fortunate to be able to experience that, and just an awesome opportunity and
really take what you kind of alluded to there, which is those lessons that you go through in order to develop your craft and to be a successful athlete to the level that you were, which is unbelievable. You take that and you carry that through in your life and you apply it to your practice now. One thing about your baseball career that has paid many dividends for you is that life as a professional athlete kind of got you in those circles of athletes, those high net worth individuals that you're now able to serve, being really one of them, right? You know the background, you know where they're coming from, and you kind of have that in with them. So talk to me a little bit about what you do with not only professional athletes, but other high net worth individuals as part of Diamond Life at your practice there.
Yeah, definitely. Part of our circles of influence. And, I would say over the last 7 to 10 years, our practice and firm has started working with high net worth individuals, families, business owners, and anybody. And
right.
What that's allowed us to do is to serve them in many different ways, whether it's a simple, term life insurance policy, or is it a irrevocable life insurance trust that we're trying to find a second to die policy for. So
right.
Whether we're mitigating estate taxes or, just doing anything regarding disability, long-term care insurance planning, we have a number of different things that we try to bring to those individuals and families to help them out, if that were to occur.
Right. And, it's what you find, I'm sure you'll agree with me, is that there's common things that everybody needs to plan for, whether you're a high net worth individual or kind of middle America, right? You can help people from all across the spectrum, and you and your firm do. When you get to those high net worth individuals, though, those same problems, they just become bigger, right? When you think of things, you just mentioned it, estate planning. You were telling us a story earlier of how you were kind of helping somebody see an estate tax problem that they weren't even aware of, and how you can kind of walk them and navigate them through that conversation. So that is a common concept that you're discussing with your clients all the time, right? Actually planning for an estate tax problem that they might not even be aware of, right?
Yeah, we work with a number of different family offices. We work with a number of different trust companies. And so, whether it's their clients that they're trying to solve this estate tax problem for, we have become their trusted insurance advisor to help implement the insurance as part of that process. The one we talked about earlier was an NBA player. He's worth between 30 and 40 million. Had a great career and has done very well. He's 7-8 years outside of playing, and but has never addressed what if me and my wife pass away in an airplane crash or a car crash. What does that look like for my 4 kids?
Right.
And those are the things we try to educate clients and advisors on, that life insurance is a great tool to help mitigate that risk.
Pennies for dollars, right?
That's right.
I mean, it's so a lot of folks don't realize that, right now the estate tax threshold, as we sit here today, it's what, 20?
It's right around 24. It increases a little bit each year. That's set to sunset in, I think, 2026. And who knows what it goes to after that. A lot of people are talking it could go to 10 from 24.
My goodness. That's a lot of people that fall between, worth 10 million and worth 24 million, that once that law sunsets, now they have an estate tax problem that they might not even be aware of. So for that player that you were talking about, he's between 30 and 40 million dollars worth. What you're trying to discuss with him is, hey man, if something happens, God forbid, to you and your wife when you're out enjoying retirement, if that happened today, your kids have a significant tax bill that they have how long to come up with the money?
9 months.
You're going to
so it's 40% of anything over 20, currently over the current numbers of 24 million. And, if that changes in the future, then, we have to react to it. So insurance is always as cheap as it is right now. And, so it's always good to put something in place and at least start that process. And as times change and as laws change, then, we can react from that as long as the trust has been established.
So walk me through that. So if somebody who's worth something above that threshold, if something happens to them, they actually are going to owe 40% of everything above that threshold. And now their kids have this tax bill. They're grieving, obviously. Something horrible has happened.
Right.
Now they got this other problem.
Yeah.
They have a bill that, in this case that we're talking about, maybe it's a $10 million tax bill that they have 9 months to come up with the money. And if you don't have liquid assets that you're leaving behind, you have a fire sale.
That's exactly right. That's the biggest concern, is if it's tied up in a business, if it's tied up in real estate, if it's tied up in stocks that are severely depressed at that time.
They are right now.
Yeah. So insurance is the best way to solve for that. And using an attorney to establish a trust, and then inside that trust you can put a policy such as a second to die or survivorship policy that will allow the trust to pay off that estate tax bill outside of the estate.
Which is really important. A lot of folks don't realize it's not just about buying the insurance policy, because guess what? That's counted in your estate.
That's right.
So that's going to get taxed too. You have to set up something specially with someone like yourself, with estate planning attorneys who can set up a proper trust that works the right way, so that this problem can actually get taken care of with life insurance. And if you can set up these solutions properly, then you are circumnavigating what could be a massive problem. And again, something that nobody wants to leave behind for their loved ones.
Yeah.
In addition to this tragedy that must have happened, for all these policies to be, for all of this to be happening, you don't want to leave them with the burden of coming up with money for a tax bill, and even the worse, having to sell off assets like a business at lower rates because they have a very finite amount of time to come up with this money. So that's when you see fire sales. That's when you see things that are worth millions getting sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get rid of it and get the money for the bill. So
and another thing is just doing a review of any existing policies that might have been in place for years.
Right.
That's another, a piece and an advantage to what we do at Diamond Life is we do an internal audit of their existing insurance policy, and make sure they're positioned correctly, make sure they're funded properly. Mm-hmm. And that's something that's extremely important as time goes by, to just do a annual review of those existing policies that are in force to make sure they are positioned correctly.
Right. And so for people out there who are like, well, I'm not worth $26 million, I don't have to worry about that. You brought up a very good point earlier. Estate tax laws are not in stone. They change all the time.
Right.
We're actually at a moment in this country's history where that threshold's actually very high historically. Mm-hmm. It's been as low as like $1 million within the last couple of decades. This is something that can change very quickly.
Correct.
So it is important for people to be educated about these things, even if they don't think it affects them now. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? First of all, with your net worth, but second of all, what's going to happen as far as legislature and these tax laws. What other things besides estate planning? Obviously, that is one huge thing that you can help your clients out with. What other types of issues are you helping your clients navigate at Diamond Life?
I think another one that's coming up routinely is long-term care planning. When clients get 60, that's kind of the next switch that goes off, is how do I hedge or plan for long-term care?
Yeah.
The average cost in North Carolina, where we are, is about $8,100 per month for a skilled nursing or assisted living facility. And there's not many insurance policies out there that will cover that amount.
Right.
That a client might have that's an existing policy. And so just helping them understand what can they do in the event they need to pay for long-term care. And so we have, various different carriers that we can partner them with to help mitigate that risk. Also, when it comes to retirement income, and just helping them and understand what are my options for fixed income or guaranteed income.
Right.
People are living longer today, right? And 90, 95 is very common these days.
Yep.
And if you retire at 60 or 65, you really think about it, that's a 30 or 35 year retirement that you got to plan for.
That's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. And if you're pulling from a portfolio or assets to support 30 or 35 years, market goes up, market goes down. I mean, there's risk there. There's uncontrollables.
Absolutely.
And, those uncontrollables are like longevity risk. How long are we going to live?
Yep.
Withdrawal rate risk. How much can we pull out? Is it 4%? Is it 2%?
Right.
A lot of people say 2%. A lot of people say 4%. In my opinion, I think it's around 2%.
Right.
Because we're living longer.
Yep.
And then sequence of returns risk. How many years of negative returns as we enter retirement are we going to experience? We don't know and we can't control it. But if you have 3 negative years in a row, it's pretty detrimental to a portfolio.
Yep.
So we just help folks understand, okay, if you're approaching retirement or you're in retirement, what are my options out there to hedge against that, for preservation of wealth, for fixed income, guaranteed fixed income?
Create certainty.
That's right.
Right? Because there's so many. You just went through a ton of levers that are out there that can be pulled, and you don't have any control over that. You don't know what the market's going to do. You don't know where tax rates are going to be. You don't know what legislation might be coming in the future. So what you really do is you help them. Yes, congratulations, you've built a big pile of money for retirement, but just as important, if not more important than how big the pile is how are we going to strategize creating some certainty around what your financial future is going to look like and how we access this money in a way that makes sense and that creates certainty for you, which is what everyone really wants in retirement.
Right. I mean, that's why we do what we do when we're working, is to accumulate. That's the accumulation phase.
Yep.
And then when we enter retirement years or approach that, that's the distribution phase. We want to use or have what we've worked for.
Right.
And to make sure it's positioned in a way that it's going to last a long time and not exposed to things that we can't control.
Absolutely. Minimize things like penalties, minimize things like taxes, minimize, exposure to market risk, which is awesome. So part of what you do, and this term that you've used a lot, safe money buckets, right? Tell me about safe money buckets.
So whether it's a life insurance policy or a fixed income annuity, that's going to be, or just a regular annuity, that's going to be your bucket that does not have any market risk because your money or your cash value is not invested in the market. It might be tied to an external index or indices, multiple indexes, but it's not in it. And so if the market's up 8% in a particular index in a certain strategy, you could earn 8%. If it's up 15%, you might earn 10 because there's a cap.
But in return for that cap.
In return for that cap, if the market's down 10, you earn 0. If it's down 36, you earn 0.
Zero's your hero.
Zero's your hero. So floor of 0, some particular cap, you look at it on a 30-year history, it's done pretty well over 30 years.
Absolutely. And especially when you've built up this big pile, that's when you really want to protect it, right?
Yeah.
We've seen what happens, we saw it in 2008, we saw it in 2020. We're kind of seeing a longer kind of, drawn out version of the market going down right now. What people don't want is to just watch that big pile that they've built and worked so hard their whole lives to create just kind of dissolve. And that's what you allow people to do by setting up these safe money buckets. You let them protect that pile and then show them the best ways to access it to give them certainty in retirement.
That's right. We come along, aside the advisor at times. Maybe they're managing the portfolio, whether it's equities or bonds or mutual funds or real estate, all these different spokes. We're kind of that little 10, 15, 20% piece of the portfolio under fixed income.
Right.
And so that's where our safe money bucket comes from, is helping a client understanding what their goals are and then positioning a percentage of their portfolio in X.
Right. So for people who maybe already have a financial advisor that they really like, or they already have, someone that they're working with they really like, you absolutely can and do all the time work with and introduce yourself to new people that the client might be bringing to the table, and you've got an excellent track record of helping them and working with them in order to create the best results for the client. You also have a team of people that you've worked with that if somebody needs a good estate planning attorney, for example, you have people that you can bring to the table. You have kind of an all-star team that you've developed around you that you can help. So what other services besides the one that we've talked about, what other kind of things are clients coming to you right now with, things that they're concerned about that you can help with?
Yeah. And just to pick back up on your previous statement,
Sure.
is, we come alongside family offices. We've built relationships with family offices, advisors, trust companies. Those are our circles of influence, and we want to do a really good job to make them look good, because they understand that insurance is a part of the portfolio, of the holistic plan. And so we pride ourselves on really doing a good job for their clients, for them. And other services that we do, disability insurance, right? Our biggest asset is the ability to earn an income. And whether you're a professional athlete, such as an NFL player who's risking their injuries every single Sunday, Thursday, or Friday, whenever they're playing,
right? They actually play a lot of days of the week now.
Yeah. Or you're a business owner, or you're a contractor, whatever it is. The ability to earn income is our biggest asset, and so we have a lot of different insurance companies that we've partnered with to be able to find those coverages for those clients in the time of need.
Yeah. Which is really what the common theme is. You're saying, I help people who have done a really great job at building something. I have to help them watch out for the what ifs.
That's right.
Whether the what if is, what if the market drops? What if you get hurt? What if you have to go into long-term care? What if this? You're really just helping them make sure, like, secure that financial household that they've really worked hard to build, and just make sure that you're making them aware of the risk that they might have in the future, and that you're making plans now to mitigate those risks.
That's right. It's all about peace of mind,
right?
And just knowing that if something happens, we're right there. I mean, we've been in the industry for 23 years. I've probably helped 25 different clients on a living benefit claim, whether it was a heart, stroke, or cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been in it so long now that from a death perspective, which is never fun part of what we do, but
of course,
we come alongside that family to make sure everything gets processed quickly and properly.
Right.
And so just peace of mind that if something happens, you've got the right coverage in place.
Well, it's I'm sure you've had a long career. You have a long way to go. It's been a rewarding career. What's your favorite part about your job? Why do you love what you do so much?
For me, it's all about relationships, long-term, true relationships, not transactional whatsoever. I want something that, to build something with a client or a family, because life changes, right? Mm-hmm. We have kids, we get married, we change careers, stuff changes. And so I want to be alongside them as those changes happen, mm-hmm. and then help them from the insurance side react to that. And so it's all about the long-term relationships, whether it's with an advisor, with a family office establishment, or a client and their family.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you on behalf of Alliance Group for joining us for this episode, and thank you, on behalf of your clients for everything that you do to help them. If somebody wants to get in touch with Travis Thompson and ask a question, where should they reach out to you?
So our website is diamondlifellc.com, and all of our contact information can be found through there.
Travis Thompson, Diamond Life, thank you so much for being with us, and thanks for everything you do for your clients and for us at Alliance Group.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Listen to this interview and more on the Alliance Group podcast.